We will stand by the Constitution. We will stand by the First Amendment. We will stand by the Second Amendment. We will stand by the Fourth Amendment, all the things that Tony has voted against. We will stand by that because I cannot be bought. Frankly, they can't afford me.
What's up, guys? I actually just got back from a speaking event this morning for the campaign. I'm about to go to another one tonight. But while I had a couple of hours in between, I figured it would be good to just sit down and talk to you guys a little bit and give you an update. YouTube, my weaponized autists. And, just give you a little bit of an update on exactly how the campaign is going. Because I kind of realized the other day I haven't really talked about this to the YouTube audience in a while. Now, you may remember back in August, I did a video announcing that I was once again running for Congress against anti-gun Republican Tony Gonzales, right here in Texas District 23, which is roughly the west to northwest side of San Antonio, all the way out to the east side of El Paso and everything in between. It's a really big district. Now, while Tony Gonzales' anti-gun vote was what got me frustrated in the first place, he's made a whole bunch of other bad votes that have really just made him a terrible congressman. I mean, if you look at the guy's Liberty score, you kind of wonder how he was elected in Texas in the first place. That's not even mentioning being bought and paid for by a bunch of special interests and super PACs. So in the 2024 election, I threw my hat in the ring.
We cannot continue to tolerate this wave of weak politicians. That's why I'm running for Congress.
Now, I'm no politician. I've never run for office before. I'm just a local business owner here in the district. But I thought about it a lot. And I thought that if we had a good message and the help of all of you and a bunch of amazing people all over West Texas and the Grassroots, we could really give this guy a run for his money. And that's exactly what happened. We had actually advanced from the primary to a runoff, which is when no candidate reaches 50%. So the people who came in first and second go into like a special election. And from that special election, that was just a head-to-head between me and Tony, we lost by 400 votes. Which is crazy when you realize that incumbents have a re-election rate of like 97% or something like that. On top of that, seeing how much we were outspent for how well we did is incredible. But of course, it's still, a loss is still a little heartbreaking, especially one that's that close. But it was my hope that because it was so close, it would be able to send a strong message to Tony, hey, a lot of your constituents are really not happy with the way that you're voting and behaving, and maybe it's time to fix that, improve and better represent the district. Yeah, that didn't happen. If anything, for Tony, I think he might have gotten the message that he's invincible and that he's only gotten worse. But I did throw my hat into the ring for a second time. We're back in this race, and the election now, at time of recording, is only like 54 days away. The election, of course, being on March 3rd, with early voting, kind of in late February. So suffice it to say, we're getting pretty close to crunch time. So I figured I'd sit down and record a little update, tell you guys, where do we stand, how's the race looking so far, what we're doing on the ground, and how you guys can get involved. So for one, the big elephant in the room, and part of the reason why we lost last time, the money side. So last time, Tony and his big special interests, super PACs, all that, spent about $13 million against me, which to, beat a YouTuber, which is a bit of a oversimplification, I would say. They just try to completely discard me as a joke candidate. Having to spend $13 million to barely win is kind of wild, which we were just barely over $1 million, which some of that was my money and a lot of that was thanks to donors and people like you. And when I say donors on our side, I don't mean like the big special interest type donors. I'm talking about average everyday Americans that are putting $20 here, $30 there, which before I go too far into that brings us to this race. So I announced it roughly the same time as I did last cycle in August. And by the end of November, we had raised $1.1 million. For reference, that is more money than we raised the entirety of the last primary. We are already very far ahead of where we were last time. In contrast, the amount of money that Tony himself has in his, war chest, his campaign committee, is actually lower than it was this time last time. And his fundraising has kind of stifled. Of course, as an incumbent, he had access to a lot of coffers and things like that, but in Q3, he was actually, we beat him in fundraising for the first time ever, I'm pretty sure. And I know what a lot of you guys at home are probably thinking. Well, Brandon, money shouldn't be that important in politics. And trust me, I agree with you. But unfortunately, in the current system that we live in, it absolutely is essential. The money behind a campaign is what buys yard signs, billboards, radio, TV ads, internet ads, It is the lifeblood of a campaign. And unfortunately, what they did last time is they just lied about me in some, oh shit, knocked my mic over. They lied about me in some really crazy, like easily refutable ways, but we didn't have the funds to be able to counter it. Because unfortunately, the truth is, if they can spend enough to lie 20 times in an ad, and we can only tell the truth once, what are the odds people are even gonna see it? So the fact that we're pretty far along in being able to level that playing field is awesome. And I largely have you guys to thank for that. The reaction that you guys have had to a lot of the campaign giveaways and stuff like that have really allowed us to, again, level this playing field, which is where I'm going to announce the new campaign giveaway, which I think you guys are going to find pretty cool. Would you like to come to SHOT Show and come hang out with us? Every donation over $5 for about the next week or so will automatically enter you to win a trip to SHOT Show, where you'll be invited to come hang out with us at the fundraiser we're doing over at the Trump. This is for you and a +1, just in case you have a special lady in your life. And of course, access to SHOT Show and all that good stuff. And that's every increment of $5 is another entry. So $10 is 2 entries, $100 is 20 entries, and so on. And again, just to show that I am putting my money where my mouth is, I will be matching all donations in the month of January up to $100,000. That is directly out of my pocket, because I do believe in this. I mean, hell, since I've started this, not including opportunity cost, I think I put about $250,000 of my own money. This will make it $350,000. I really do believe in what we're trying to do here, and this is proof I'm all in. Failure isn't an option this time. I feel like this is the last opportunity we're going to have to get Tony Gonzales out of office, and I'm not going to let it go to the wayside. So I'm going to be working hard as hell, but also I'm putting my money down. I'm in a very fortunate situation where the channel is kind of like a growth engine that's allowing us to do these great things and get good people into office. And speaking of paying the bills, 2026 is a fresh start, but with the same system. The banks win, but you pay. Fees and calls piling up monthly, unless you fight back. PDS Debt has already helped hundreds of thousands cut their debt and put their money right where it belongs, back in their pocket, not the banks. Whether it's credit cards, personal loans, or medical debt, PDS Debt has custom solutions for you to help get you out of debt. No minimum credit score required. They're here to help you save money and pay off your debt faster. PDS Debt is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and they got thousands of 5-star reviews. Why? Because like I said, PDS Debt has helped hundreds of thousands of people get out of debt. It's a new year now, and it could be a new you. One that isn't in debt. So don't wait another month. Start taking back control within 30 seconds. Get your free personalized debt assessment at pdsdebt.com/bh. That's pdsdebt.com/bh. pdsdebt.com/bh. And again, we'd like to thank our channel sponsor over at SDI, Sonoran Desert Institute. If you've been thinking about getting your start in gunsmithing and weapons technology, you don't know where to look, maybe check them out using the links in the description and in the pinned comment. Thank you to PDS for sponsoring the video. Now, back to it. Okay, so you have no reason to be able to tell this, but I actually just got back from that second speaking engagement because I ran out of time. And now at 10 o'clock at night, I get to come back and ramble at you like a madman. Next events in the morning. I kid. As much as, sometimes I have to deal with a crazy schedule and whatnot, it's actually amazing to be able to go out and meet the voters of the district. And most importantly, hear their concerns and answer their questions directly face to face. Something Tony Gonzales will never do. Tony doesn't do debates, he doesn't do public Q&As or town halls, he doesn't really do anything. He basically avoids accountability like Volkswagen and Hugo Boss avoid talking about what they did between 1939 and 1945. There's also a lot of questions both about his record and some current events that I believe he'd be terrified of having to answer in person.
A U.S. congressman refusing to answer our questions about his alleged relationship with a staffer who died after catching on fire.
Is there any response you have to that?
We're here at Fort Sam. We're at Fort Sam unit at the ceremony.
It's actually pathetic. He fun story. He actually does these teletown hall things instead of doing like an in-person town hall. He'll do it like over the phone and just, text people out, oh, call in and listen in. And he makes it out that like you can call in and ask your question. I know a lot of people who've called in. I don't know a single person who ever actually got to ask their question. And I've heard multiple times it's actually just all scripted and the people calling in are just prearranged like staffers and family members to just pitch like softball questions he already, has scripted answers to. I mean, next time he does one of those, seriously, try to call in, see if you can get a question through because I highly doubt it. No, honestly, I love doing Q&A. Like when I do campaign events, I do like maybe a 5-10 minute, little speech, introduction, who I am, what I stand for, and then I just take questions, which I found that most people running for office like don't usually do to that degree, but I find it to be the most interesting. Instead of me just standing up there and rambling about what I believe, where most people, they clock out after 5-10 minutes, you get to engage with people on like a really human level right there in person, especially like a lot of these smaller West Texas towns. You get to hear the issues that they're dealing with that, a lot of them feel just genuinely forgotten about. It's starting to ramp up toward the end of this month, especially. Of course, we got SHOT Show and everything, but the month of February, I'm going to have multiple events every day, all throughout the district, just going at it, leaving no stone unturned, going to all of the counties all over the district, which if you've not seen the district, at least not recently, it's huge. There's a lot of land to cover. There's a lot of counties there, and there's a lot of people that still need to have their voice represented. So last campaign, we visited each one of the counties in the district. This February, we're going to do the exact same thing. I want to be able to honestly say by the end of this, no matter what happens, I gave it everything we had. That I never chose an easy day over getting over the finish line. Now, another big thing we got going for us too this time is the Grassroots right out the gate has been super supportive. We have so many amazing volunteers all over the district that helped us work really hard during the runoff last cycle and have immediately jumped back into help. We have volunteers all over the district representing us at gun shows, at county meetings, putting up signs all over the district. I mean, I feel truly blessed to have so many people that are just so enthusiastic to get out there and just help us win. On top of that, this time too, we've got the name recognition. I mean, last cycle, starting out, I was a nobody here. I'd never run for office of any kind. Most people in the district had never heard my name. Now, especially after that runoff, coming in just 400 votes shy, we're pretty well known here. The real thing is just being able to continue to push out the message of who we are, what we stand for, and why we are the best candidate in this race. And again, with your help, not just with volunteering, but also just with the donations and everything like that. Just because we don't have the big PAC money, the special interest money, all the stuff you got to go around DC and knee pads for. But with the fundraising being where it is already and continuing to move forward at the momentum we have, we are going to be fighting on a much, much more level playing field. And considering how slanted the last playing field was and still coming in at almost a deadlock 50-50, I think that's a pretty good sign for us. Also, quick aside, if you're interested in doing any sort of volunteer stuff, we have all sorts of positions available. You don't even need to live in District 23, although that is a huge help. If you're willing and able to come down to San Antonio or El Paso or pretty much anywhere in between, just anywhere in the district, and come help us out, door knocking, block walking, we'll train you up, not a problem, we appreciate it. But even phone banking, or even just calling people that you know that live in these areas and telling them, advocating them, telling them to vote for Brandon Herrera. Every little bit helps. It really does. When you think about it, all we needed was 200 people to flip their vote. This district was won in 2020 by 6 votes. That's insane. So if you think whatever little bit you can do doesn't matter, I promise you, it does. But now let's get into the nitty-gritty of how the race is going and just updates in general on it. So the filing deadline to, file to be on the ballot in District 23 was December 8th, I believe. Up until December 8th, it was actually just me and Tony. There were a couple of candidates in the beginning, but they either dropped out or moved to a different district, leaving just a one-on-one rematch between me and Tony. That was until December 8th. 2 other candidates jumped in. The 2 candidates that jumped into the race at the last minute were actually the former congressman for District 23, Tony Gonzales, and a new challenger named Keith Barton. Had the opportunity to meet both of them. I actually met Kiko during my last campaign. Very nice guy. I think we're all in it for the same reason, which is that we're frustrated with the job that Tony's done, and we think somebody needs to do something about it. But what does that mean for the race? Well, it's about as simple as this. The objective would have been, had they not jumped into the race, it wouldn't be the objective, it would be the only choice, is to take it in a one-on-one and just take it right in the primary. Meaning that whoever gets 50% of the vote plus 1 vote or more is the next person who will be representing District 23, at least on the Republican ticket. But now that Kiko and Barton are in the race, that has the potential to split the vote to where it's very hard for any one candidate to get 50%. Now, obviously, our objective is still going to be to win outright, get 50% of the vote, basically just win outright in the primary. But with the other 2 challengers in the race now, that does make it very likely that we will go into a runoff election yet again. which is funny because that would have made it, out of all of Tony's elections ever, this would be, or he would have only had one that didn't go to a runoff. So popular guy. Of course, my hope is that we just knock it out of the park. We win by several points on March 3rd. However, if it does go into a runoff, first of all, I'm very confident it would be against me and Tony, just based on the metrics of grassroots support, fundraising, name recognition, as well as polling data and some other things. And I actually think we might have a slight advantage in a runoff situation. You see, Tony went into this with a war chest of money that he's been able to fundraise, beg, borrow, or steal over the last, year and a half, 2 years since the last election. But since then, he's gotten himself wrapped into some nasty scandals entirely on his own doing, and that's making him kind of politically radioactive to, fundraise for, and makes people a little more hesitant to give him the money that they would before. Point being, he's not the safe, moldable, for sale candidate that he was. I mean, he's still for sale, but he's not safe is the key. That, and now that it's clear that there's a challenger in the race that does have a very good chance at taking him out, a lot of people would be worried about basically throwing a lot of money, millions of dollars, into a bad investment on somebody who could be beat. Meanwhile, my fundraising is coming from, first of all, myself, but also all of you guys. The average hardworking men and women who just truly want somebody to represent this country in a way that is in line with the Constitution, in line with our values. I mean, I don't focus on the gun issue so much on the campaign trail, but here I know that's a big part of it. I mean, we don't really have a whole lot of good gun advocates on the Hill for us. We have a handful, we have a couple. Some of them are actually leaving this cycle, which is really upsetting, but we need more people that are going to be up there carrying the torch and fighting like nobody's business to keep pushing these pro-gun bills through. And of course, stave off all the shitty ones. And so again, I appreciate you putting your trust in me on that. We did have some polling that came out a couple months ago that had us barely trailing Tony by just a couple percentage points. And I might add that this was before the campaign had spent a single dime on any sort of advertising. So right out the gate, as a challenger who hasn't been doing, Fox News hits and everything like that for the last, year and a half since the last election, that was a really good number for us. I think the beginning of the first campaign, we started at like 4%. Like it was nothing. Now we are significantly tighter right out the gate. I've even seen some other polling since then that implies that for the first time in the history of this race, we're ahead. I mean, my personal goal is to win by 5%. I feel like if we fall just short of that, we're still well across the finish line, but I think that's just, it's a good aim small, miss small. Now things are, again, gonna get real hot and heavy this next couple months. So if you want more information on the campaign, if you wanna see some of the question and answer sessions, if you wanna see some of the speeches and some of the travel we're doing all over the district, you can head on over to the B channel. We do have a second channel that, it's not just for politics, it's just kind of a catch-all for all the stuff that I don't really want to put on the main channel for whatever reason. But we uploaded a lot of the stuff from the campaign, kind of like vlog style stuff, and some of it's just straight up like speeches and Q&A. So if you're interested in that, I will have the links in the description and of course in the pinned comment. It feels like a fucking ad for myself. But I really just wanted to take a moment and again, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for being the engine that allows us to do these great things. I think they are. I mean, I would never have the ability to do these things without you. And I'm serious about that. Not just about the donations or the volunteering or anything like that. No, just even as simply as having the best job in the world and being able to use this platform to do things I never would have thought were possible for me, to be able to help the industry that I love, the country that I love, is it's incredible. And it's entirely thanks to you. So yeah, that's the update. On top of that, I'm super tired and I would like to go to sleep now. But a lot of you guys have been asking, and I mean, several of you didn't even know I was running again. So I figured it would be good to make a little update video like this, just kind of tell you where we're at, where we're going, how it's looking. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, and I will see you sexy YouTube mother lovers next time. Thanks, guys.
Fuel is my obsession to make the perfect weapon, like Rasputin's rise to the top. But